Stephanie Lugo, Mercedes coach Kristy Leal, and RGV Heat coach Kevin Kanipe. Coaches, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Thank you, Kevin.
It's
Hi,
Kevin.
Kevin. Hi, everybody.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good, doing good. You guys?
Doing well.
Doing good. I see Stephanie walking her dog. She lives around the corner from me.
I do, like maybe 4 houses down. I see Kevin all the time. RGV Heat sticker. Sometimes barbecuing in the front yard. So I see him on a daily.
Yes.
Definitely a small world. So how have you guys been as far as coping with having just to be stuck at home? And I know as educators too, you guys had that challenge of adjusting to teaching online. And just how has it been over this last month and a half?
Well, personally, it's been boring, but we've gotten creative here at our house. We've decided to start planting, start fixing up some things, start walking, and just being active as much as we can. But of course, doing everything on Google Classroom and all that bit. But it's tough. I wish there was more softball on TV, and I think barely they start to do that. Just wishing what could have been, thinking what's happening to the seniors and things like that. It's heartbreaking, but I mean, we've been getting through it every day.
Coach Kanipe?
Yeah, I've been working. So our business, we have a printing company. We do a lot of business with the cities, the counties. So we've been working the whole time. We've kind of pared down, or while we were in shelter in place, we pared down our staff. Just only have 1 or 2 people in a day. I'm like Steph. I've watched a little bit of softball. I've seen some SEC games. It's just not enough on though. It's just been boring as far as softball. Just recently started doing some hitting with some of our Heat girls, and hopefully we'll get ready to start practicing pretty soon.
Coach Leal?
It's been tough, but finally we're trying to, we've gotten used to the way things are right now. I've had a chance to get back into the school game and trying to finish my master's and focus on that, try to get my mind off of not having softball in my life. We're really hoping that, the UIL gives us a little bit of leeway and we're able to have some summer conditioning coming up with our kids. It was tough. Our seasons were cut short, but I think a lot of the kids are going to be excited to get back into the swing of things, and we're going to see a lot more participation throughout the summer within UIL summer conditioning and stuff. So I'm just hoping to get the okay on that soon. And of course, we're going to take all the necessary precautions and all that good stuff. But just to get back with our kids, that's what I'm hoping for.
Definitely, and that I think that's the big what could have been for all spring sports, for soccer, for track, for baseball, for softball. But considering this is a softball panel, just how everything ended so abruptly. We Kristy and I can go back to that day, the 13th of March. It was just so strange where, the plans on where to go to certain games just started getting canceled, getting pushed back. I called Coach Leal and I called Coach Gardenas to ask if they were still playing. They said, yeah, we're still on. So I made my way down there to Brownsville, and that day was just so strange, just to see all these games get put on pause out of nowhere. And, the level of uncertainty, for myself, just driving over there, wondering if this is the last game we'll be playing for a while. Between the innings, the umpires were asking me what was going on, what was going to happen. And I think that was kind of a surreal moment for me from the outside looking in, because usually you have chats with umpires and it's about balls and strikes. It's about the game. But this was a real life situation that we were talking about. So, for Mercedes, you guys went to Brownsville. What was that bus trip like going to Brownsville, and just with the level of uncertainty, not knowing if this would be y'all's last game?
Getting on the bus, the kids had no clue what was going on. And then, we're on the ride over there to Brownsville, and they start seeing things on Twitter that, Sam Nito's game got postponed and Harlingen's game got postponed. And the whole time I'm praying, please, God, do not let this game get canceled right now, because my kids are really looking forward to playing Brownsville Vets, of course. It's always a great matchup between them. So we get off the bus, we go through our warm up, and the kids, they're constantly asking me, are we going to play? Are we still going to play? Is it going to get canceled? I say, guys, hey, we're here. We're on the field. Let's just, take full advantage of the opportunity right now. And, you know, we were able to get the game in. The kids played really, really well, man. I think it was one of the best showings we've had throughout the season. And, you know, after the game, I told them, I said, guys, this could have possibly been your last game. And which, of course, it was still uncertain what was going to happen. But I just told them, I said, we need to be grateful that we were able to get this game in tonight, because a lot of kids weren't able to play that last Friday. So they made the best of it.
And Coach Lugo, I know you guys took on PSJA. Was it more of the same for you guys, or because some kids that have been on here that were seniors just said that it didn't bother them. Some it did, some it didn't.
Yeah, I think honestly, I mean, the girls were asking like, are we going to play? Are we going to be able to practice? What's going to happen during spring break? But I think what really took over their whole demeanor and everything about that day was that the fact that they're playing against the Bears, their rivals, one of their biggest games of the entire season. And I don't really think that they were worried about what was going on, this COVID-19 and what the preventatives we're gonna have to take, or what was gonna happen. Are we gonna like continue with the season? They were just focused on, okay, we're gonna play the Bears. We need to beat them. What do we have to do? What's our game plan? And yes, there was the girls on Twitter still asking like, hey, coach, I saw this. They're not playing. Los Fresnos is done for the year. And like, hey, but we're not. We still have a game. We still got to be focused. There's things that we need to do today in order to get the win. But the girls knew that it could have possibly been their last game. And just at that saying that some of the coaches that went through my mind during that time, though, like Kevin would tell me, or previous coaches would tell me, play every game like it's your last. And I kept replaying that the entire time. And I was like, maybe these girls are thinking the same thing if I'm thinking that. And I think majority of the time that we were there playing against the Bears, the girls weren't even worried about COVID-19 or this whole crazy thing that was going on. They were just wanting to win. And unfortunately, we didn't get the win that day, but the girls did what they could. They came to play despite all of these different things around them that was going on. And I know that they wanted the win. I know that that's what they were more worried about. But I mean, I don't think they were really truly thinking about COVID-19 that day. I think they were just wanting to beat the Bears as much as they could. But I mean, that day we fell short, but it happens, you know, it's softball.
Coach Kanipe, what was your reactions when you started seeing all these things begin to unfold? And, you know, like the coaches mentioned, there was just so much chatter on games being put on pause, some games still being played that day.
Yeah, I was looking for a game to go to. When I'd seen that the Los Fresnos San Benito game, or was it Harlingen South? I don't remember. That game was canceled. And so I started looking around, and I looked at Mercedes, and they were going to Brownsville. I wasn't going to drive to Brownsville. So I went to that PSJA North game, actually. I watched that game.
Yeah.
The same thing is just I wasn't really thinking about the COVID-19 situation. I was thinking, okay, it's probably going to be a temporary thing, maybe a few weeks or something, we'll be able to get it going again. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
You know, and then we had that, you know, at first, the first day was March 29th. That was the first day we all circled as far as when could sports possibly come back. Then we had the May 4th date, and we didn't even get to that date. For me personally, as soon as I saw the governor announcing that there would be no school indefinitely, I knew that UIL, the next domino would be that sports were coming right after. And for sure enough, it probably didn't even take an hour for UIL to make that announcement. As coaches, how did you all reach out to your teams to let them know, like, hey, the season's over and, you know, this is what's going to be happening now?
Well, I had girls screenshot the announcement on Twitter, and they sent me the pictures. And then I was going through our Twitter for our softball Twitter that we have here at Christian North, and then I started seeing it, and I was like, well, I mean, the girls already know. I'm sure parents know. And then we have an app that we communicate on. So, of course, I had to tell all of the girls to reach out to everybody. And then our athletic coordinators said, hey, I don't know if you've seen this, but pretty much your season is over. I'm sorry. Just got to make arrangements, talk to the girls and things like that. I mean, it was heartbreaking. I mean, the first thing that I thought about was my seniors. But they reached out to me first. I was trying to stay positive. I kind of didn't want to see that. I kind of didn't want to look at Twitter or any social media because I knew if I was in their situation, I would probably be very devastated, and they are. So that's how I did it. That's how things went over here on our end. But
Coach Leal?
Well, I think during that Brownsville Vets game, we prepared for that. You know, I gave them a little speech and I told them that it's all about being grateful. And we were grateful to play that day. And I prepared them for what was coming. You know, it was inevitable. I think, you know, there was a lot of things in the news that prepared us for that moment. And, you know, when the UIL announced it and the governor announced all those, that everything was closing and, you know, the season was done, I looked at my phone and I told my seniors first, and I'm sure all the kids saw it on Twitter and all the news outlets and this and that. But breaking the news to your seniors is what really hurts, especially because, you know, when you have a group that's been playing the game since they've been about, you know, 4 years old, and then we have a kid that's going on to play at the next level as well. You know, it hurts. It hurts because they're looking forward to their senior season to see how much success they can get within that year. You know, and this year we had a pretty special group, and it was just tough, you know, but the thing that I can boast about is I have very mature girls on my team, very smart, mature kids that, you know, they understand the severity of the situation. So, you know, although their seasons were cut short, you know, they understand that it's about the safety of them and their families. So, you know, softball is just a game, but, you know, life with your family and you know, that's everything. So they understood, but it was tough sending them that text message.
And where did, you know, you guys still had a whole season ahead of you. Both of y'all had just started district play. You know, we got to see Mercedes, or I got to see Mercedes up close at that San Benito tournament. And, you know, going into y'all's season, I know there was some injuries and there was some question marks, but it felt like you guys were really starting to put the pieces to the puzzle together. And then beating BVM the way you guys did, I think that was enough fuel to go into Ed Couch, who y'all were going to play that Tuesday. I think y'all were going to be both 3-0, I think, at the time, more or less. Where did you feel your team was at? Did you feel that you were starting, like I said, to put the pieces in play and start to play the best softball y'all could?
I really thought we were peaking. I don't want to say peaking. We were progressing towards that, you know, the top of the mountain, because, I mean, obviously you want to peak during playoff time. But, you know, in those 3 district games, the girls outscored opponents 48-0. So, you know, things were rolling. They were having fun playing, and it was just the right time to go into district play and to play, of course, our district, you know, frenemies, Ed Couch on Tuesday. But, you know, obviously it was taken away from us, but it's the way it goes.
Yeah, and for PSJ North, you know, you guys have that magical run a year ago. Coming in this year, you know, you guys have the target on your back. Just where did you feel your team was heading? You know, I understand you guys lost to Bears, but you guys still must have been feeling good about yourselves.
Well, we had just finished with our Seguin tournament, I think, that week, and then we started district playoffs, and Seguin was tough. We played against some really tough teams that were ranked, teams that went to the state tournament, and the girls, they did good. They held their own. I mean, despite us being really young and kind of like in a rebuilding sort of season, the girls were holding their own. Their freshmen were doing good. We had girls who were becoming captains, becoming those vocal leaders or leaders by example. We were getting to where we need to get. Yes, there was things that we still needed to work on, but our girls, like Coach Leal said, we were progressing. We were doing the best that we can. We were working hard. And like I said, I wish we could have seen what we could have been. I think we would have done some great things and we would have shocked people again. But I mean, I know last year was last year, but like I told the girls this year, we're this year's team. We're a new team. We're going to make our own name. And we were starting to live up to what we wanted to do. We were starting to get there. And I just wish that none of this would have happened. I think it would have been great.
Right. And you know, now I think we're, you know, I personally feel that we're past the eye of the storm and we're getting to a point to where we can get back to some sort of normalcy. You know, and like I mentioned before we went on, we're starting to see some, you know, I think the gym's open today or tomorrow on the 18th. And then, you know, we're starting to see tournaments starting to be put together. Coach Kanipe, as far as the heat goes, you know, where are we at with tournaments and in your team?
Well, what I saw in the governor's, I went online and looked, and what it said was that for sports, you can start practicing. I think it's May 31st, and then games could start June 15th. That's what I saw. So I'll contact. I've contacted some of the parents already, and I'll contact some more and just kind of find out first of all if anybody's very concerned still about the COVID-19, if they don't feel comfortable playing, then we'll go from there. It's totally their call on that. Other than that, one of the concerns is, of course, we haven't been able to practice. We haven't been able to do anything. So originally we were going to start playing that first week in June. So obviously that's not going to happen now. One of the other concerns is the D1 schools are in a dead period now. It was extended through June 30th, where they can't recruit off campus. Division II schools are in a quiet period where they can't recruit off campus. They can have camps if their campuses are open. So that kind of puts a damper on things, at least at junior college. And I believe, I'm not sure what the NAI rules are right now. So we're kind of pushing back things. We'll have to reevaluate what we were going to do. It's usually always a real short season anyways in the summer. It really only goes about 2 months from when we start playing. So now it's going to cut it down a little shorter. The nationals we were planning on going to is, I think, the July 23rd through the 26th up in Plano. So I know there's some things we'll have to reevaluate our schedule and our plans. But I know we're ready to start practicing. I know a lot of the girls are. I get text messages from them, when are we going to start playing? Some of them have been coming, getting some hitting in. So kind of where we are right now. Hopefully we'll be able to start practicing. I saw online where some people are starting to talk about practicing this week. So I don't know, I have to get clarification there.
And as far as once you guys set a practice date, how does the facility work for a travel team? Do you have your own place, or do you have to go to a local park, or how does it work?
Well, we've been very fortunate that we have some schools that allow us to use their field. We have to get a hold harmless waiver, and we have to have the insurance and all that stuff. But there's some coaches that allow us to come use their field. Kristy's one of them. She'll come out there and open up everything for us. We're able to use her facility. Sometimes Coach Rodriguez and Wessico will practice there. Those two areas are good for us because we have girls from all over the valley. So it's a good kind of halfway point where girls from the West can go, and then girls from the East have to travel a little bit as well. We've had Coach Tressler from Ember North for many years. We used to practice there, and he would allow us to use his field. And a lot of the coaches aren't as acceptable to do that. Coach Esparza, when she was at Harlingen South, we used to practice there. Coach Iglesias from Mission, she was kind enough to let us use her facilities. Coach Ayala, when she was at PSJA Bears, she let us use theirs. So for us, we usually practice at the high school fields. So now that's going to be a big question for us if the schools are closed, if we're going to be allowed to use the facilities or not. I'm not sure. That's something we'll have to find out.
It's funny you mentioned Coach Tressler. He texted me yesterday. He wanted me to tell you that you were the best travel ball coach. that you run the best travel ball program. He wanted me to tell you. So.
Well, thank you. I've known Richard many years.
Coach Tressler. He's a man of few words, so But moving on, talking about RGV Heat, Coach. Just what are the origins of RGV Heat, and for coaches to speak highly of your program and the things that you guys do. So just for those that don't know, what's your story with RGV Heat?
Well, we started, this actually would be our 20th season. We started in the summer of 2001. That was our first season. We started as a 14U team. Most of our girls were 12, 13 years old. We really kind of wanted to help the girls in Edinburgh do well in the high school. So we had girls from Edinburgh High and Edinburgh North high schools, and we had one girl from PSJ North at the time. And so that team formed, and then we had a girl that was 15 the next summer, so we had to kind of bump up to 18U. There really wasn't the 16Us like there is now. So Coach Joe Ortiz, he and I are the one who started Heat with Lisa Cherry, who's one of the pony directors. But Joe now, he's an assistant coach of Vela High School. And we've been very blessed to have a lot of good dads or coaches who stepped in and helped us out through the years. We've been very fortunate. Lonnie Garza, who was at Economitas High School for a while. Raymond Arcebo is the coach at Edinburgh High School. We've got Leal Desmond down in Harlingen. His daughters played at Harlingen South. Hector Cavazos, his daughter's from San Benito. We've had Juan Hasso from San Benito. Henry Reyes from up here in Edinburgh. His daughter Amber's playing at Kingsville. So we've been really blessed. We got Alex Escamilla, his kids, great ball players, great young woman, and Alex Anzaldua from Brownsville. His daughter Mia played with us, and he was still coming to practices with us this fall and working with the girls. He played softball, competitive softball, and so he was a big help for us. And so really that's what it kind of started out, was kind of help the Edinburgh schools. And I know Edinburgh North, they went to a couple of Sweet 16s at that time. And in 06, we graduated quite a few girls, and some of the parents were like, well, we still want to keep playing. We still want you to coach. So I stuck around. We only had one team at the time. And we've kind of seen travel ball evolve over the years. It used to be just a lot of tournaments, and you'd see a showcase or two every once in a while. And nowadays, pretty much everything we go to are showcase tournaments. It's very competitive. The recruiting process is a tough process, especially for us down here in the Valley. It's just even harder for us to go to tournaments where the coaches are going to be. We have to travel at least 4 hours to go to San Antonio or Seguin, San Marcos, in that area. So that's kind of the origin. Like I said, it's our 20th year. These two girls here, they were impact players with our team and with their colleges. And I'm glad to see that they're making a difference for some young women here in the Valley. Coach Joe and I were talking last year. We think we have 14 girls who are now high school coaches, head coaches, or assistant coaches. So that's pretty cool. So that's kind of where we were.
Yeah, I like the word you use, evolve, and that's one thing we've seen this sport do over these last couple of years. Coaches, this is an open-ended question for all three of y'all. How much has the game changed, since your playing days, and now you're seeing girls be a lot bigger and a lot faster and stronger? Just how has the game evolved over the years?
I think really opportunity has presented itself. Back like Coach Kevin said, back when we played in 06 and 07, we went to a lot of tournaments, but not many showcases. And now these kids are able to go to numerous showcases throughout the summer. They're able to go to a bunch of camps. They're able to, go play on actual stadiums from different universities. So they're being seen. Here in the Valley, we don't have college coaches. Beth Trina from LSU or Patty Gasso from Oklahoma getting on a plane and coming down to good old Mercedes, Texas. So if you want to go and play college softball, you have to get into a travel ball organization, and not just any travel ball organization, an organization that's going to progress you as an athlete and really showcase your talents. And that's what RGV Heat did for me. Back when I was 16, 17, 18 years old, Kevin was the one that got me ready for collegiate softball. It was a different level. It was a different, higher expectations. Everybody that was a part of the team wanted to play college softball. So when we went to practice, it was, one track mind, we're there to work and we're there to get things done. So if it wasn't for RGV Heat, travel ball is what has expanded the game now and just given kids unlimited opportunities to be seen to get to the next level.
Coach Lugo?
I agree 100%. I think honestly, the things that Coach Kanipe has done, not only for me, but for the other athletes that went through his program, it was every weekend we were out somewhere. We were in Beaumont, we were in San Antonio, Seguin. We were doing something that didn't just keep us here in the Valley. Not that there's anything wrong with the Valley, but we don't have D1 schools here. We don't have Lauren Chamberlain playing here for UTRGV because we don't have that yet. And to be able to see and get exposure at these amazing tournaments, not only that, these these coaches coming to watch us, just seeing them come and get their paper out of the little folder that they have and looking at your name, looking at you. And I think that exposure has helped us tremendously down here. The girls are wanting more for themselves. The girls are wanting to work harder and go to different camps and do these different things. And these showcases are helping us do that. And I think that's why this game has evolved. I think that's why softball here in the Valley has gotten so much better. The caliber of play, the determination, the discipline. I think from the lower valley to the higher valley upper valley has helped us tremendously. And I think RGV Heat has really done that for a lot of the girls. When I like to see when I'm driving and I see RGV Heat stickers or RGV Heat gear, it's like, hey, I played there too. Kevin, you're doing amazing. And so was Coach Joe when he was there. But when I was with Kevin from 2010 to 2013, I think our first year we didn't go to as many showcases. But I think the rest of the last 3 years I was with him, we were there all the time. Kevin was like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to email, you need to get yourself out there, you need to be different, you need to be loud, you need to do something. And I think that that's what's helped us a lot. And everything that he's taught me, aside from other coaches, has really helped what I'm doing today. So, I mean, the exposure that RGV Heat is doing for us little people here in the Valley is helping us a lot. So, Kevin, you're amazing.
No, thank you. And again, it's not just me. I've had a lot of help through the years from some amazing men that have helped out. And, you know, we work on the mechanic things and we know what the colleges are looking for. We know what they don't want you to be doing. You know, and if it's one thing, I always put it back on the girls. You know, you want to play college softball? What do you think the coach would think if he saw you not run out of pop-up or something like that? You know, and they say, well, he probably would bench me. And hey, you're right. You know, out the pop-up. Just little things like that. You know, that's something Coach Joe and I have always been big on. It's always been about the girls. You know, we want them to learn. We want them to do well for themselves, you know, and softball is a vehicle for them to get their education many times. And we've seen so many girls become the first college graduate in their high school, in their family. And it was because they played, you know, softball. And softball then became the vehicle for them to get that education. And that's something that's we're really proud of.
And as far as, you know, the competitive standpoint, you know, we've had previous guests on here where me personally, I feel that we see teams make the Sweet 16 almost on a norm. And I feel that we get to the Sweet 16 and then it's, okay, you made it to the Sweet 16. Now what else are you guys doing? You know, with that being said, I just feel that the level of competitiveness has gone up here in the Valley. Do you guys feel the same, or where do you all feel that the Valley is at as far as a competitive standpoint when it comes to softball?
Well, I definitely see that. I go around to a lot of games. I'm at a game every Tuesday and Friday, watching a game. And then sometimes I'll be having my phone there and watching you guys broadcasting the game. So, you know, there were a lot of really good teams this year. There were some strong teams, and, you know, this might have been a year somebody made a deep run. You know, you had the Bears doing really well. You had Vela, you had, you know, Pioneer. Mission was having one of their best years they've had in a long time. High School was doing really well. They had I think a 9 or 10 inning game with Vela in the La Jolla tournament. There's just a lot of strong teams, and like Kristy, I know they were just coming in. You know, Mika had been in basketball, and so she was coming around with her pitching. You know, Stephanie's team was coming around. I saw them early on. I saw them, you know, as they were playing a little bit, and they were starting to play together better. You know, Harlingen South, Lyford, there were some really good teams. Hannah was having a good year. And so it may have been a year that we would have seen somebody break through again and go to the Final Four.
Coach Leal?
You know, definitely there's been some, well, this year alone, I mean, the just the competitiveness of a bunch of teams. There was a lot of talent this year. But I think, you know, once you get to that level of the Sweet 16 and, you know, the Elite 8 and all that, it's not necessarily that, you know, that competitive edge. It's mental. It really is mental. You know, our kids, they get up there and huge crowds, and, you know, there's a lot of different aspects of the game now that they're not used to, you know, and but now that teams are progressing and more opportunity is there and kids are taking advantage of that, I think we will see a Valley team be a state championship very soon, as long as this Corona goes away.
Yes. I agree. I'm the same way. I think the competitiveness is there, the discipline, the work ethic. I think it's all there. But like Kristy said, I think it's just a different stage. It's a different demeanor. It's a different pressure. It's a lot. And I know for just having teenagers, it's a lot to take in for them mentally wise. I think their preparation for the game mentally has to be a little bit different than what it is just playing at home on a Friday night or playing on a Tuesday night. It's different. And I think not having most of their fans being able to go to those San Antonio area or to Austin if we get there, when we get there, it's having all of our family, the support. I think if we don't have that, I think the girls will be like a deer in the headlights. And it's discouraging. It's thinking then, well, this team has their band, this team has their cheerleaders, this team has everybody. What about us on our side? So I think that's another thing too coming into play when we get to those bigger stages and closer to Austin and playing on that field. I think that side is what's a little bit more difficult for the girls at these ages. So.
Coach Esparza, Brett Esparza and Rio Hondo, he and I always have a phone call when the season's officially over, once all the Valley teams are out. He and I will have a conversation and just swap ideas, or not ideas, but just opinions on saying, okay, where did you grade the season? Or what do you think is missing? Or where do you think the season was at? What grade would you give it? And, these past couple of years, his team made the region final that year in 2017. 2018, I felt that the Valley kind of just leveled off a little bit, but then back to 2019, we made the Sweet 16 again. And, we asked, well, what's missing? What's missing here? Or who's coming back? And I feel that sometimes the pitching is kind of what's missing on our end. Last year we saw Aaliyah Pritchett from New Braunfels Canyon. She single-handedly mowed down Harlingen South. And that was probably arguably the best offense in the Valley last year. Is it the pitching, or is it just me? Or what do you guys feel that's right now keeping us from Austin?
That's where it starts. It starts in the circle. You've got to have a pitcher who's going to keep you in all the games. You got to have a catcher that can handle the pitcher. And yeah, I mean, you watch some of these games on TV, these college games, and you see kids, or these girls throwing 70 miles an hour, and it's just like nuts. We don't see anything near that down here. We'll have some girls that hit get into the low 60s. Maybe once in a while you get close to the mid 50s, but overall, I mean, we don't have as many good pitchers as other places. I think we have as good of players here in the Valley as there are other places. We just don't have as many of them.
Yeah, I think pitching is a big thing. And how many pitchers can these pitchers actually master? Not just, I can go by you, the movement up, down, laterally, can they really, or have they really mastered that, the spins and things like that? And then just calling the correct pitches to the batter. What are they doing? What's the batter doing? Things like that. I think that's another thing too. But not only that, I think hitting wise, are we being taught the correct way? Or are we learning how to identify a pitch coming out of the pitcher's hand? Are they able to say, oh, this is a curve, this is a screwball, this is a drop? Like little things like that can get us ahead, I think would help us most though.
I'd have to agree. Pitching is, to me, the most important thing. I mean, you think about all the teams that have gone far to state, especially, I mean, San Benito, think about Crystal Castillo. Westlake High, when they had Taylor Tafoya on, and when you think about these teams that go really far, it's because they have a kid that can command the circle, and a kid that's always touching the ball. You want them to be mentally strong, and you want them to be the leader of your team. And in essence, at the end, it always comes down to having that strong kid in the circle. Of course, your catcher helps because they're their backup, they're their backbone. But if you have that commanding girl in the circle, just, dictating the game and just keeping her tone and controlling everything. I think that's what really commands the game in softball.
And speed isn't everything. You know, I may have made it sound like speed is the most important thing. It's not really. Speed is important, but like Stephanie was saying, you've got to command. You got to know where you're throwing that thing. You know, you have to be smart. Where are you throwing that 0-2 pitch? You know, are you just throwing a strike, or are you getting it off the plate to make her chase it? You know, one of the things I remember Kat Osterman said, her best pitches were around 61, 62 miles an hour. She had movement when she threw that speed. She could throw 65, but she had better speed, a better movement when she threw at a lower speed. So yeah, it's like commanding your pitches, knowing where to throw them.
You know, and talking about, you know, what could have been, and, you know, just kind of circling the season. I said it out loud that I just felt that Lyford really hurt the most when it came to this pandemic and the season getting canceled, because if a team I thought was going to make it that far, it might have been Lyford down in 3A. You know, we saw plenty of teams this year really start to find their form. Did you guys feel the same way? Because I think Coach Leal and I talked at the beginning of the year that we were kind of saying that there might not have been an alpha dog this year, that there were just so many teams that were going to be very good. Because I know, like, in the past, we've seen, like you mentioned, San Benito, Weslaco, where we knew that was the team. I felt this year there were 3, 4, maybe 5 teams that really could have made a run. Did y'all feel the same way?
Definitely. I mean, looking back at the San Benito tournament alone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those games were exciting. You know, Lyford was there, Rio Hondo was there, Pioneer was there. You know, we were there. San Benito, of course. You know, it was just back and forth games, just awesome competition. You know, and that was at one tournament alone, when, you know, you had other teams at another tournament like PSJA High and Vela. And, you know, I think just the competition this year was really tough. And I think I really do. You mentioned Lyford, and we played Lyford, and their lineup was just, it was incredible from top to bottom. You know, those kids, I was watching them warm up before the game, and I was talking to one of the assistant coaches, and off the tee, every single kid was hitting the ball as hard as they could. Every cut they took, it was the hardest cut they could ever take. And that's what it's about. You know, every opportunity you get, every rep you take, every time you step on the field, you got to go all out, give all your effort, because that's what translates into the game. You know, and to me, Lyford was on another level. As I think I didn't get to see PSJ High play, but of course, you know, everybody was boasting about them as well. And like Coach said, Harlingen High, we played Harlingen High, and I couldn't believe, you know, the turnaround they had from last year to this year. And I complimented Coach Silva, and I said, man, you're really getting it going there. It looks like you're creating a little culture and some expectations, you know, and that was pretty neat to see. But just to see how much competition and the talent that we had this year, it just really it's a bummer to see that the season was cut short.
Yeah, I agree. When we heard Lyford was doing good, I need to get out to see them play. I need to see what they're doing or something. But not only that, when I was in the La Jolla and Mission tournament, just watching some of the teams, how they warm up, like Kristy said, the discipline, the determination, giving it their all, even if it's just a warm up. Because I know that there's some girls, I know when I was young, I was like, no, I don't want to warm up so hard because I don't want to get tired. But then I started thinking about when Coach Kevin would tell me, but why? Because it starts from your warm up. The college coaches are going to look at you in your warm up. So why are you going to give 50%? Always give your 100%. And to see athletes do that, not just our team, my team, but everybody, it's intimidating. That's like, that's in part of your mental breakdown or your mental like preparation for the game. I know when I was playing, and I would look at the girls and see what they're doing on the other side, and I would try to figure out what they were doing. But other than that, just thinking about Vela, thinking about PSJ High, thinking about Edinburgh High, thinking about Lyford, Mercedes, the things that they were doing, hearing, just reading every day was just incredible to see. Not just one team was doing it. It was the entire valley, up and down the valley. It would have been great. I know for sure we would have had a lot, like majority, some of these teams go to playoffs and go far. I think it would have been a great year, but like Coach said, it was a bummer. It's sad. It's something that we never would have expected that would have happened, especially during our season. We waited all the entire year for our season, and it happens during softball season.
Yeah, I think I'm the only media member that actually counts down the days for softball to start, literally.
We appreciate you. Those in the
I
softball
was,
appreciate you and everything you do.
I was so I was so pumped. But Coach, yeah, talking with what these coaches are talking about as far as, the level of competitiveness with all these teams, you're probably as many games as us, and then these coaches included. Did you feel the same way, that there was just a handful of teams that really could have made a serious run?
Well, definitely Lyford in theirs classification, they were very solid. They had 2 pitchers, which is key, but then they turned around and I was watching on y'all's show, or y'all's feed, so, Harness of South then turns around and beats them about 4 runs or something. Harness of South had pitching. They had, I think, 3 pitchers over there. You look at Vela, they had 2 good pitchers. PSJ High definitely, Signs is a good pitcher, throws well, throws hard. You look at Mission's turnaround. The reasons they turned, one of them big reasons is their pitcher-catcher combination over there. A couple freshmen. So, yeah, it starts in the circle, and those teams they had pitching and they had depth in their pitching, and then you throw in the offense, and really, in my opinion, I think Mercedes had 2 of the best pitchers around. With Cassidy and Mika. It's a matter of the defense coming around at the same time, But I definitely think for sure here at Lyford, and I think, probably maybe the Bears and possibly Vela. So Partners of South possibly too. I mean, there was a good half dozen teams that really could have made an impact this year. And then who gets the breaks in those games when they play? Because they would have had to turn around and play. Somebody had to play each other to get out of here. So it was going to be an exciting postseason, and I think we all were looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. As I was talking, I forgot which coach I was talking to, but I was like, man, I was so jealous that baseball got an all-region final before softball did. I was like, but it's getting there. It's getting there. But I think this year a theme was pitching. We did see a lot of really good pitchers, a lot of strong kids. And I think I told Coach Leal, I said, when I think it was at the San Benito tournament, or I may have told Mika this myself, but I said, I had seen her pitch over her years at Mercedes, but I didn't realize how stinking tall she is. And I was like, man, you step in the box and you see a girl like that step in the circle. It's pretty intimidating. Yeah. Did you guys feel that same way, that this year there was just a handful of pitchers that could throw some heat? No.
Definitely. I think.
Go ahead, Seth.
Well, when we played preseason with Mercedes and we saw their pitchers, we hadn't really seen anybody who had command over their pitches or with speed, seeing them, their height. I mean, we don't have very many tall girls on our team, but we do. We have some good tall girls on our team. But seeing a pitcher in the circle with confidence, of course, the height, looking with determination and of course she knows what she's doing, but I just think was a lot for some of our youngins. They were just coached, I haven't seen this yet. They just came fresh off of middle school and things like that. And of course they play travel ball, but it's nothing compared to when you play against high school pitching, high school players, girls who've been doing this for a little bit longer than you. But it's definitely a big thing for us over here. But to see some of the pitchers from Mercedes, and not only that, from Los Fresnos too, because we played against Los Fresnos, they had some good pitching as well. And the girls needed that, especially before going to Seguin and stuff like that and starting the season. But definitely pitching.
Coach Leal, for you, since you coached Mika, just, I had wrote about it, that it just makes a coach's job so much easier when you have not just a pitcher like that, but an athlete, having an athlete like that on your team. Just how much does that help you as a coach, being able to write up a lineup?
This year I had 3 pitchers, 3 girls that, we could turn to at any moment. I have to boast a little bit because, you know, everybody knows Mika. Mika is a presence in the circle. You know, she shows up, she hops off the bus, and you can see the other girls already looking at her like, who's that, you know? But I have a kid, her name is Cassidy Rodriguez. She's a junior right now. She'll be a senior next year. You know, this kid has been behind Mika, and I can't say that, you know, we have an ace on our team because these girls work so hard day in and day out to be the best that they can be in the circle. And Cassidy has always been you know, in the shadows of Mika because, well, Mika's an all around. She's, you know, she plays varsity volleyball, basketball, softball, track, cheerleading, and she's such a presence. But, you know, we have this little kid on the side that's just flourished. And you know, a lot of it has been because she's learned from Mika, you know, she's been willing to put in the work, and it's so easy as a coach to be able to go to the bench or to be able to go, you know, on the field and ask a kid, hey, are you ready to go? You know, this kid is, you know, maybe they have her number already, or she's losing it a little bit. Are you ready to go? And all my pitches were just, you know, whatever you need, coach, we're getting in the circle. And I can't boast enough about Cassidy and how much she has flourished this year as a player. Personally, I think that she is probably one of the best pitchers in the Valley at this point. And just the progression that she's made from her freshman and sophomore season to her junior year this year. Unfortunately, it was cut short, but, you know, I could put either Mika or Cassidy or Natalie in any game against any opponent. And I knew that those kids were going to compete at the highest level possible.
Definitely.
Yes, I'm biased about that, Kevin. I've both those girls play with us, Cassidy and Mika. So, you know, but I've seen both of them just do some outstanding things against high level competition. Cassidy in the fall was just unhittable. You know, her rise ball really started jumping this year. You know, she always had a good curveball, and then take a little something off with the off speed. And Mika last summer was her first summer to play with us. And, you know, we had Audrey Escamilla behind the plate, catching, calling pitches, and Kristy Salas as well. And, man, I saw a different kid in the summer. You know, we played some high-level teams, and she just really upped her game, it seemed like. But, yeah, I'm biased to both of them because they both play with us. They're great kids as well. Very fine young women. I think Cassidy right now stands to be valedictorian in the school, in her class as well. So, great kids.
We're joined by PSJ North's head softball coach Stephanie Lugo, RGV Heat coach Kevin Kanipe, and Mercedes head coach Kristy Leal. Moving on to our final topic, you know, we're gonna take a little trip down memory lane and just, you know, maybe some things that stood out to you on playing for RGV Heat, or some fun memories that you guys have.
Oh, you know, Kevin. Well, Kevin, there's been some things, you know, when you get mad and you want to throw, when you get a little bit heated, okay, we'll use that. When you like to throw that hat, or, you know, but other than that, I think my first year with Kevin was, okay, what's gonna happen? I was going in there with all my friends, Sammy Arciba, Tori De Leon, so many other girls that I played with. And we were like, okay, what is this guy all about? What is he gonna show us? And then our first practice, we were like running and jogging and sprinting and everything. And I was like, I don't know if I wanna do this, guys. I don't think I can do this. And then, of course, Sammy Arcibo, who's now the head coach for Economini, she's like, we got to do this. We want to play college ball. You need to figure it out. Let's get it together. So, I don't know. Kevin, he's funny. He has so many emotions. Of course, I don't know, Kev, you have not only helped me on the field, but off the field, and continue to do things for me. But, I mean, and now my neighbor, you know. But no, yeah, I think Kevin's exposure, and I think how he made us realize what it is to get to the next level, I think has always stuck with me. And I think funny things that he's done with my parents, how they have their like their meetings after tournaments and things like that.
The coaches meetings.
Our coaches meetings, yes. And then this one time we were in Beaumont before it started raining like crazy. They postponed it. And he had this, what was this story about the railroad tracks? I guess you can get into it. We were all like, okay, Kevin, where are you going with this? Because I have no idea what you're trying to say. And of course, all of my teammates and I were looking at each other, like, what? Okay, well, let's go play. Yeah, Kevin, thank you. But Kevin has his own ways of speaking to us and his weird times. Like, you know how we tell the girls, Coach Leal, that you need to be here at 8 o'clock sharp. He says you need to be there at 7:58 and 51 seconds left on the dot. Are you sure, Kevin? This is what you want us to do? But yeah, but that's my fun times with Kevin.
That story you're talking about, I just want you to know, Allie Johnson, when she was at Texas State, she called me and asked me what that story was so she could share it with her teammates.
Oh, ask her. That's what you were saying, right? I remember that.
Coach Leal?
Well, I played with RGV Heat back in the day, way back in the day. There was only about, I would say, established, and we weren't even an organization back then, Kevin. It was just
One team.
One team, yeah. So, I was playing high school ball, and I remember a family friend was like, "Oh, well, you should join this team, RGV Heat." And of course, everybody knew who RGV Heat was. Every kid wanted to play on that team. You know, it was the best travel ball team in the Valley. And I got the opportunity to go try out, made the team, and I go to the first practice, and you can already tell that there's like a culture of expectations already set. You know, you get there and you're going to work hard. The practices aren't an hour long. Practices are 4 hours long.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to get in all your reps, and you're going to be ready to go for the next tournament or showcase that's coming up. I remember I cried and cried and cried because I didn't get to play varsity basketball my senior season. But, you know, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to go play collegiate softball. And I knew that there wasn't going to be anything to stop me from that. So, and I had to, go to these tournaments and go to these showcases in order to get that opportunity. And that was just a sacrifice that I had to do back then. I know I never hit a home run in high school, ever. And this one time, I think it was our first tournament with RGV Heat. We're playing in Austin. And I hit the ball, and I'm running as fast as I can. I'm running around the bases, running, and I'm not fast. Everybody knows I was never fast, okay? And Kevin's just hollering from third base, go, go, go. He's yelling, he's waving his arms. And then I get to third base, and all the girls are waiting at home plate, and I had hit my first home run, and Kevin's making me sprint around the bases. And, I was so embarrassed. But, it's just a memory that will always stick in my mind, because that's who Kevin is, man. He's a jokester, but he's always going to want you to do the best that you can, and always push you to be the best that you can. I'm forever grateful to have been able to be a part of RGV Heat. And I know I'm biased too, when my kids come up to me and they say, "Hey, coach, I want to find a new team. I want to play." And the first thing that comes out of my mouth, well, is RGV Heat, of course. I played for the organization, and I know what Kevin and Joe and the other coaches have made. And there's so many kids that have gone through this organization that have excelled at the collegiate level, and they have RGV Heat to thank for it. Yeah. I've made so many friends and so many contacts, and my parents got involved. My dad would sit in the dugouts and do the book for us, because he wasn't a coach, but he did the book. And it was a lot of sacrifice, but we were able to get our college paid for, debt free, and it was all because of RGV Heat. And, it helped us get those opportunities to go and play at the next level. And for that, I'm forever grateful to you, Kevin.
And you're welcome. We expect a lot from our players. Joe's daughter graduated in 2005, mine graduated in 2006. So since then, we haven't had a daughter out there. And so, we're not out there playing a daddy ball game. We're out there to get these girls better and work on their skills and somebody will say, well, this coach has favorites. And I said, well, I got favorites, ones who go out there and bust their butt every play. You know, we tell them, don't take a pitch off. You can't take a pitch off. And these two girls were a joy to coach and to have around on the teams. We've been very blessed to have some very fine young women and great supportive parents. And I love seeing you two and the other coaches, you know, like I said, making an impact now in the Valley coaching. You know, you'll make an impact on kids and you won't even know it until maybe years later. They'll come back and tell you something you said or did to them, and they'll thank you for it. So it's really cool.
I think the cool thing too about softball being it's a small world. And Coach Kanipe, you actually mentioned Lisa Cherry. Her husband Frank Cherry was my little league coach.
Okay.
JD and I started playing soccer together when we were 5. I think JD's a year older than me. So Lisa Cherry was my soccer coach, little league coach, her and Frank, since I was 5, 6 years old. So that was I did not know that you knew Lisa Cherry, because I know they were Edinburgh North like me. So that was pretty cool that you knew the Cherries.
Yeah, Lisa coached for the first, and Alyssa was on that first team and played 6 years with us.
Yeah, definitely a small world. Before we go, any shout outs that you guys would like to give out to any family members, or, you know, any message that you would like to give your athletes?
Yeah, for sure. I'll go first. I've been going first. Of course, all of my softball girls at PSJA North, all of our admin staff, our entire district, my family, my fiance, who's literally in the living room watching this right now, my dog Colt, for sure, my sister, and everybody that's helped me, has gotten me here, has supported me and stuff like that. So everybody that's helped me throughout the years.
Coach Leal.
Shout out to my girls. I really hope you guys are working hard, getting ready for next season. I know I'll be seeing you soon during UIL conditioning. Not mandatory, but you'll be there.
Strongly encouraged.
And also shout out to, you know, all the old timers. I know, Kevin, you did that little bit with Tressler and Coach Iglesias and Coach Esparza and Elias. You know, that was really special to be able to see how softball was back in the 90s and how they had to, you know, establish everything and progress and get things going and start, you know, softball here in the Valley. And you know, just to be able to coach against coaches like that, it's pretty special. And, you know, it's exciting to be able to, you know, take on the torch, especially like with Coach Iglesias. You know, she's retired, Coach Esparza as well, you know, but she also helps Brett. But it was just nice to hear their stories of where everything originated. And also shout out to my parents, because they're the ones that paid for me to play on RGV Heat and got us that exposure and those opportunities. So, you know, they're everything to me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'd give a shout out to our players and parents, and hopefully we're able to get on the field pretty soon and start practicing. And I have to give a shout out to my wife and to my family. My wife, you know, Coach Joe and I are gone a lot. We travel with the girls, and you know, she supports us. My wife supports us. You know, it takes time away from our kids, from our families, but our families are very supportive of us. And I know that my daughters will say, "God, can you believe that? You know, where you started from, or where Heat started from, to where it is today." You know, we've had over 90 girls go off to play college ball, which is something pretty special. And so it's been a great ride, and it's something I still enjoy. But again, without especially my wife's support, you know, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Quick question: who would have won the Women's College World Series?
Washington.
I think Texas would have won. They were on a roll. That picture, she was just doing something, and she was doing something right. I think seeing her all over Twitter and things like that, I think they would have done good. I'm a Texas fan. I gotta go with Texas on this one.
Oh,
I've been rooting for Texas as well.
Texas?
Yeah.
You're both muted. I do not like UT at all.
Oh, come on.
I call them the Texas Ducks, because Coach came from Oregon, and he brought 4 great ball players with him. So I call them the Texas Ducks.
Definitely. Well, coaches, thank you all for joining us this afternoon and taking the time to come on here. And like I said, just talk softball and just where it's at. And Coach Kanipe, I know I'd reached out to you a couple weeks ago, so I'm glad we were able to get you on here on the show. And again, Coach Tressler, he's saying, hey, maybe Coach Kanipe and I can go on there and talk softball. So I was like, yeah, maybe we can get something like that going soon. So.
Sounds good. I just want to again thank you and Real Sports for all you guys do. Back in the day, and especially I know when Kristy played and probably when Stephanie played, you didn't have games being streamed. So people who are in high school now, they're spoiled or they think it's always been like this. Well, it hadn't. But you guys do a great job getting out to the games and all these talks that you're having with coaches and players, and it's really great. It's a great thing you guys are doing.
Thank you, Coach. Much appreciated. You guys stay home, stay safe, and hopefully we can all see each other again on a softball field sometime soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kevin. See you, Steph. See you, Kristy.
Bye, guys.